9 months ago, I built a medieval cogship for the Crown Knights faction that was meant for transporting royalty. Kinda crazy to think that it's been that long ago already. Anyways, I now wanted to build a bigger ship that is more geared towards warfare for the Lion Knights faction. In my current castle lore, each faction has its own specialty, such as the Black Falcons having the largest cavalry and the Dragon Knights having the winged Dragonborn warriors. The Lion Knights also have their specialty, which is the largest navy, since all their cities are at coastal locations geared towards maritime trade. If you've seen the previous Crown Knights shipbuilding video, you might have noticed that the ship has one extra hull section, making it 8 studs longer. The layout of the deck is a bit different as well, with the usage of the 8x8 grille piece in dark tan to create the perception of more space below deck. However, this is still a cogship just like the previous one, so the overall layout will be similar with a raised deck up front and a cabin at the back featuring a command deck above it. I increased the length of the raised front deck by 2 studs. I also redesigned the placement of the bowsprit so that I could move the anchor winch forward to allow for space to place a small ballista, giving the ship extra defenses. This meant that I had to redo the sides so that the hole for the anchor line is now further forward. The winch is new as well. It's now smaller and is able to deploy and retract the anchor, unlike the static one in the previous ship. The ballista rotates on a 2x2 turntable piece and can tilt up and down to shoot at ground and air targets, such as the flying Dragonborn warriors. You may have noticed the use of light bluish-grey half-cylinder pieces along the sides. This is to keep the design language the same as the battlements on the Lion Knights castle set, but of course this would be painted wood rather than stone battlements. However, I went with white and a thin strip of black under the half-cylinder to give some separation in the design from the castle. It also acts as a transition between the reddish-brown hull and the light bluish-grey half-cylinders. The color scheme carries on to the back cabin with the white window inserts and slopes, as well as a 2x2 macaroni piece to add some design accents. The interior of the cabin is similar as before, since it's the same size. The previous layout was already efficient, so no point in changing what already works. I placed shields as design accents along the sides of the command deck. This design is a lot less extravagant when compared to the previous ship, since it's meant as an ordinary warship rather than a ship for royalty like before. In the previous video, I got some comments about the ship missing a steering wheel on the command deck. I forgot to mention that medieval cogships don't have steering above deck. It's located below deck, where sailors tug on tillers connected directly to the rudder. Steering above deck is a later technological development. However, I decided to include it here to indicate that the Lion Knights Navy is more advanced than other factions and have recently developed this capability. Since this ship is longer, it also needs larger masts and sails. In the side-by-side comparison afterwards, you will notice that the mast here is significantly larger than the previous ship. With this longer ship, I am now able to place the standing rigging for the front mast onto the sides of the ship, rather than connected to the middle of the deck like before. This gives a much more open deck space for opposing minifigures. Now for the comparison. As you can see, the new front deck is longer and transitions down better to the Viking hull piece. I also prefer the new placement of the anchor further away from the hull. The deck is more spacious due to the increased size and the placement of the rigging for the front mast. We are also now able to pose minifigures atop the mast. Admiral LeBlanc, welcome aboard, King Halwyn greeted. Salutations, Your Majesty. King Leo extends his regards and expresses his gratitude for Prince Helenar's aid in defending Lion's Guard. He wishes to repay this favor. I have been assigned to aid in your campaign. Admiral LeBlanc responded. I'm thankful for any assistance in retrieving my son. These barbarians had the gall to abduct him, march to my very doorstep, and demand a ransom. Suffice it to say, the ones they sent are now rotting in the dungeons as we speak. As well they should. King Leo hopes you won't take offense at being sent only myself. Prince Leandro and Marshal Ayler are already en route to the Red Horn to assess the Orcish incursion. No. I understand you had to abandon your station at Black Channel Harbor, leaving it exposed. For King Leo to take such a risk on our behalf speaks volumes of his dedication to our alliance. Allow me to introduce your fellow commanders in this effort. To my left, Marshal Renard, who leads my royal guards. And to my right, Praetor Valnorin, commander of the Elven forces aiding us. A pleasure to meet you both. Praetor Valnorin, I have heard much of your accomplishments. Your presence here gives me great confidence in our endeavor. High Council Aenwyn has charged me with retrieving her son, and I will see it done. I have been informed that a fleet from Lionsguard attempted to seize the Isle of the Horned Men many years ago and failed. Any insight you can provide about that battle would benefit our campaign greatly, Admiral. Praetor Valnorin stated. Indeed, my predecessor, Admiral Jourdain, fell in that battle, along with a great number of ships. The Horned Men were formidable, but it was the sea-dwelling beasts defending the island that proved our downfall. Our handheld weapons were useless. Only the ship-mounted heavy crossbows could penetrate their scales. Even then, only with precise shots at exposed areas under the Gildrum armor they wore. It was impervious to the boats. Ultimately, our fleet was overwhelmed. These sea creatures are known as the Sondarim. We are aware of them. It is deeply concerning to learn that they possess Gildrum, and in such large quantities. I can scarcely imagine how. I am certain of it. I was there when King Erendil presented King Leo with his Gildrum armor, and witnessed its strength during the demonstrations. The way it gleamed, much like the armor you now wear, Praetor. Gildrum armor can only be pierced by a Gildrum blade. It would cut through their scales with ease. Your Majesty, I recommend that Marshal Renard and Admiral LeBlanc engage the Horned Men directly to draw their attention. Centurion Illithor, you are to enter the village and locate Prince Helenar. I will confront the Sondarim as they come to reinforce the Horned Men. I find this strategy agreeable. What is your opinion, Marshal Renard? Dividing our strength makes us vulnerable. This plan depends heavily on Centurion Illithor's success. Should he fail, we'll be locked in a prolonged battle that could come at great cost. Marshal Renard replied. This plan would avoid a prolonged incursion into enemy territory. Centurion Illithor and his troops are the elite of my command. High Council Aenwyn would not have dispatched us if she lacked faith in our capabilities. The longer my son remains in the grasp of these savages, the greater the peril to his life. His fate lies with you now, Centurion. Begin preparations at once. King Halwyn commanded. I'd like to give a big shout out to our channel members supporting the creation of Scarillis, with a special thank you to Fennec and Brendan Bundyboy Davies, our two captains of the guards. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.